Shwmae, Mr Griffiths. Nawr rwy'n patriotic. A mae eisiau rhoi fy gwasanaeth I chwi, mae'r gwerth, mae'r waith ar y fferm yn o national importance. A rwy'n gynnig I ti y gwasanaeth I ar y fferm.
She volunteered?
Mae merched fel I chwi'n gwybod, Mr Griffith, yn gallu gwneud popeth felly.
O, ydy nawr.
What did she say? Girls do everything.
Fel popeth na fedrwn nhw wneud.
Even things they can't do.
Miss Brightfeather. A rydych chi'n gwybod shwt I ddal arad.
Miss Brightfeather, hold a plough.
Medra Gio?
A ddoi ceffylau yn ei thynnu.
With 2 horses pulling it?
Ho, 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 ho. Pwy sy'n gallu... Wel, ond I chi ddal eu ffennau nhw?
If you hold their heads.
O, na, Miss Brightfeather. Mae'r ceffylau yn tynnu'r arad, nid chi.
Nonsense, Mr Griffith. Pwy sy'n gallu ddal arad a 2 geffyl? Yn ei thynnu fe? Oeddech chi'n credu bod fi gryfach na 2 geffyl? Anything reasonable, Mr Griffith.
Allwch chi odro a ffyn llaeth, menyn a hifen?
Can't you milk the cows and make cream and buttermilk? This is my favourite bit. Wait for it, wait for it.
Good luck to you, Miss Brightfeather.
Wel, mi odwn y buwchod sy'n rhoi llaeth yn gyntaf.
I'll milk the cows that give milk first.
A wedyn, byddai'n odro a buwchod sy'n rhoi llaeth Edwin.
And the cows that give buttermilk next.
A buwchod sy'n rhoi hifen yn ola.
And the cows for cream last. Stop, it's too much, come on, stop.
A wedyn, mi roi'r llaeth a'r llaeth Enwyn a'r hifen mewn wahanol lestri.
She'd milk into butter.
Wel, bydd yn neud o llaeth, bydd yn neud menyn.
From the cream. Cheese.
A o'r hifen, bydd yn neud caws. Ar ôl llaeth Enwyn, mi naf, rockets.
Rockets!
A botelyn y llaeth yn erbyn y gia.
And I'll bottle the rest for winter.
Wel, dweud, Miss Brightfeather, faint o arian bydd rhaid i fi talu chi te?
Wages?
Dim byd, Mr Griffith. Gwasanaeth patriotic. Dim ond tyma bach o fwyd i ni.
Only food for herself.
Agi bach.
And her little dog.
A rhywun i gario'r basget tuag gatre gyda fi bob nos.
And someone to carry her basket home.
Wel, gadewch chi gwybod, Miss Brightfeather, Tommy carrier basket Miss Brightfeather gatre, a paid yn ofio hi.
I was too frightened. My arno ofyn y lady bet on her ma. He was frightened of those posh ladies. Needing fel now efo mam. His mam wasn't like that.
Dere yma, fachgen i, dere yma. Nawr, cyn i ti ei phriodi, bydd e'n saff i ti i chario'r basget.
Because he is unmarried, it would be safe for him to carry the basket.
Ond ar ôl i ti ei phriodi, falle, fysa rhaid i ti i chario hi.
But if you were married, you would have to carry her.
Bydd rhaid i mi yn newid yng ngosfa. O na, sdim amser mae mam. No time.
Mi roi got i ti os nad i weddol smart bachgen. O, Miss Brightfeather bach, gaf fi caria y cwtsin blewog sydd yn ei llaw. O, na ci pert. Nawste, Tommy, caria'r basget. A dere nôl yn gloi, mae rhaid i ni fwydo'r gwarthbeg, a'r lloi, a'r moch, a'r...
Oh, not all those smelly farmyard animals still to feel, Mr Griffith. Oh, well, diolch yn fawr. Nos da.
We do have me nôl nawr o sgafi.
Na, well i mynd yn gyntaf. Now, he's got to go before he comes back, Miss Brightfeather.
Right.
Oh, diwedd y byd! Oh!
Well, she's safe now. No more patriotic gestures needed.
Yep, Mr. Griffith won't have to put up with any of her nonsense anymore.
What do you mean?
Are you just dim or what?
Don't dim me. Dim yourself. It's all over, isn't it? We're going to have to find new things to do because the war's over. All over.
Well, I hope you've all eaten and drunk enough. In fact, some of us have eaten the amount of sugar we'd have consumed in the last 12 months. 1918. But we're moving on. Before the general music and dancing commences, a brief taste of the entertainment that might have been laid on in Solver to enhance the mood of celebration and joy. But before the nonsense begins, Roly, Craig and Jackie will tell us a story of two soldier boys
Let's watch this.
who went to sea to serve their country in the Great War.
Let's watch this. Let's watch this.
I'll introduce the family first. There was Sarah and Henry Johns, their parents, Lily and Alice, their daughters, and Joseph Rowe, who married Lily. You can see the names of Henry Johns and Joseph Rowe on the Roll of Honour for the Great War. Some of you will remember Lily Rowe. She had snow white hair. And this is a story about why her hair turned white. So we've called it The Lady Whose Hair Turned White. In the happy days before the war, Lily and Alice had long chestnut brown hair. After the bad days of war were done, Lily's hair had turned snow white. How could this be so? Our story starts a long time ago.
Henry Johns was a Solver boy, born in 1857. His grandfather and father were master mariners. And Henry grew up in a fine house overlooking the approaches and entrance to Solver Harbour, and called Ye Steps. It is still a fine house and now sells fine ales. It is called Ye Royal George. Henry was destined to become a seafarer and left his Solver childhood to become a seaman apprentice and sailed the oceans like his grandfather had in the glory days of sail. With his father's sea trunk packed, he travelled by rail from Haverfordwest to meet his first ship in Cardiff Docks. He lodged in a pub called the Beaufort Arms, fell in love with Sarah Jones, the landlord's daughter, and they were married. Lily Johns was born in 1883, and sister Alice in 1885, and in 1888, Henry, aged 32, took command of his first ship. He became a highly respected captain and had sailed round Cape Horn and the Cape of Good Hope during his extensive voyages. In 1901, Henry became master of his beloved SS Whitefield, a 2,500 tonner, sailing out of Cardiff and on which he served for the next 14 years.
Lily and Alice were now young ladies, and Henry, as captain, was allowed family on board. Lily was confident and spirited and loved the adventure, whilst Alice was scholarly and preferred quieter times reading. Nevertheless, they both sailed the seas and saw icebergs and whales, flying fish and sharks. They visited the Mediterranean ports and brought back a pot from Pompeii. The Whitefield was their classmate. In 1906, Alice graduated from Aberystwyth University and became a teacher at Roly Grammar School. Lily qualified to be an elementary school teacher, but found school life dull and resigned after 6 months. She became a campaigner for women's rights and social justice and spent her time doing good deeds and charity work. In 1910, Henry picked up a new mate from Hull. His name was Joseph Rowe, and he was nearly the same age as Lily. They were married in 1912 and honeymooned on the SS Whitefield, crossing the equator and having Neptune himself bless their marriage in a special ceremony of lather and a giant cutthroat razor. On their return, they passed several German warships and saw a surfaced U-boat. The good times were slipping away, and Lily and Alice were never to board the Whitefield again. When war was declared in 1914, Sarah Johns was alone in their house in Vale. Henry and Joseph were at sea. She decided the two men must part, for fear of losing them both at once. En route from New Brunswick, Canada, the men had reached the same decision. The work they loved had become perilous, and they sailed out on the war-troubled sea on separate ships in that spring of 1914.
For the first year of the war, the German and British navies were busy engaged in the struggle for dominance at sea. And under the prize rule, U-boats could only attack merchant ships from the surface and had to allow the crew to escape. Henry and Jo were home for Christmas, 1914, and the family came to Solver as usual. Henry announced that once the damned war was over, he would retire and they'd return to Solver. he had seen a house to fit the bill.
In February 1915, Germany declared the seas around Britain to be a war zone, which meant unrestricted submarine warfare. In September the 1st of that year, Henry was returning from Archangel, a port on the White Sea, Russia, with a cargo of wheat. 2 miles north of Cape Wrath, Scotland, the watch sighted a surface U-boat. Fully laden, the Whitefield had a top speed of 6 knots, and she was very much a sitting target. The first shell landed astern, and the U-boat was rapidly catching the fleeing ship. A second shell landed off the bow, and Henry ordered all stop and the men to stand by the lifeboats. U-33, captained by Conrad Ganser, lay off port side of the Whitefield. Through a loud hailer, Conrad Ganser claimed the Whitefield as a prize of war and ordered Henry and his 22 crew to abandon ship. From close range, U-33 fired 2 shells at the waterline of the Whitefield, and from a distance, Henry watched his beloved ship for 14 years slip stern first below the waves.
In 1916, Joe qualified as Master Mariner and was given his first ship to command, the SS Albania. She was a nitrate carrier, sailing through the newly opened Panama Canal on their way to pick up this deadly cargo from Valparaiso, Chile. Joe carried this deadly ingredient for explosives throughout the war, passing through the U-boat-infested Atlantic approaches time after time. Often he was away for months because outbreaks of cholera and yellow fever on shore were decimating the local labour force for loading the ships. All crew were confined aboard except for the captain, who had to negotiate the crew cargo.
In 1917, the war zone of unrestricted submarine warfare was back, and Britain was being crippled by the disruption of shipping supplies. In February and April of that year, 500 merchant ships were sunk by U-boats, and in the second half of April, 13 ships were sunk every single day. Henry, on board his new ship, the SS Haslingen, was steaming off the coast of Norway. The Haslingen was armed with a stern-mounted 12-pound gun, the idea being that she could defend herself against pursuing U-boats. On the 23rd of July, the watch reported a gun flash on the horizon, and soon a plume of smoke. Henry turned the bow of the Haslingen towards what he knew was a U-boat. His hope was to ram the submarine, but the U-boat commander turned his attention to Henry's ship and fired 2 shells. Henry's only hope was to use the stern gun, and he swung the ship hard to port. His gun crew started firing when a sight, and Henry ordered, all stop, setting up his ship as an easy target. But his gunner was good. A shell landed close enough to the conning tower of the submarine to drench the occupants with a plume of water. It was enough for the commander, and the submarine moved off and under the waves, but the enemy was now invisible. With that threat, Henry stayed and picked up the crew of the sinking SS Toxteth, and for whatever reason, the U-boat did not attack again. They arrived back in Hartlepool safely. London Gazette, 1917. Henry Johns, Master Mariner, awarded Distinguished Service Cross for service and valour at sea.
By 1918, Lily and Alice had been living in Solva for 2 years. They were looking for a house big enough to accommodate the whole family, and especially for Henry's retirement. Lily had joined the Women's Voluntary Division and trained as an auxiliary nurse, working for a while in the auxiliary hospital in Whitchurch. Alice taught in the county school, St David's. In May 1918, Sarah Johns was alone in their house in Ebervale. Henry was en route from Rouen to the Tyne. Joe was en route from Valparaiso to Genoa. On May 14th, Sarah received a telegram. On May 15th, Sarah received a second telegram. Henry and Joseph were both dead.
On the 12th of May 1918, SS Haslington was torpedoed and sunk by submarine UB-21 under the command of Franz Walther, 7 miles east of Seaham Harbour, Yorkshire. 11 lives were lost, including the master. Henry's body was never found.
On the 14th of May, 1918, Joseph Rowe, Master Mariner of the SS Albania, died on board from yellow fever, contracted whilst ashore in Valparaiso. He was buried in the return port of Genoa, Italy. Lily received a picture of his tombstone.
It was then that Lily Rowe's chestnut brown hair turned snow white.
Lily and Alice bought the house in Solva that Henry wished for and lived out the rest of the days in the village. They called the house Caegwyn, which in English is translated as Whitefield. And that's nearly the end of our story. But the next time you go down to the Royal George and you see a figure in the corner perhaps, it might be Henry Johns. So buy the man a pint. He deserves it. Thank you. A poem by Siegfried Sassoon. It's called Everyone Singing. Everyone suddenly burst out singing, and I was filled with such delight as prisoned birds must find in freedom, winging wildly across the white orchards and dark green fields. On, and out of sight. Everyone's voice was suddenly lifted, and beauty came like the setting sun. My heart was shaken with tears, and horror drifted away. Oh, but everyone was a bird, and the song was wordless, and the singing would never be done. Thank you.